Now, Nigeria's former president, Olusegun Obasanjo, has endorsed the presidential candidate of the Labour Party, Peter Obi, as his preferred candidate for the 2023 elections. In his New Year message, the former president described Obi as his mentee and said the former Anambra State governor has an edge in the 2023 elections. We're now joined by the spokesperson of the Labour Party, Dr. Tanko Yusuf, to examine the import of Obasanjo's endorsement for Obi's quest to be president. Good to have you on Newsday.
Thank you very much for having me.
I think it's obvious that your Labour Party was thrilled with this endorsement, but I'm a bit curious. It does sound as though you're delighted but not content, because you're asking other leaders to toe the same line as the former president of Nigeria in endorsing Peter Obi.
Yeah.
So how much weight does this actually carry?
Okay, permit me to use this opportunity to wish Nigerians a happy New Year. And then actually, the last tweet I made, I mentioned that while we struggle for the soul of Nigeria, for a better and an egalitarian society, I wish them obediently and a useful New Year. And I say this with all level of patriotism, because coming from your question, it's very obvious that our situation is so bad to a point that every hand must be on deck. Nobody should sit on the fence, because from the letter Obasanjo wrote, clearly he says 7.5 years Nigerians have been in pain and pang, and that we have gone from the top to the valley, from prime pan to fire. So you can see the humongous nature in which he used in describing it. So I usually I extracted this letter into 3 ways. I said he gave a synopsis of where we are and the warning he gave within the letter, and he provided a solution. Now, if you look at these particular 3 angles, you now say, where are we? We are in a deep blue sea where even if a two-edged sword is being given to any Nigerian finding himself in that, he will grab it for survival. And so at that point in time, we need everybody on board. And that's why we are using him as a point of contact to every statesman who believes that Nigeria must be rescued and put out of this particular very precarious situation to come on board and endorse Peter Obi. It's the most right thing, cynic thing to do for a Nigerian situation as we find ourselves. That is why I'm pleading. We can't continue like this. How can you just comprehend it when Nigerians are living in their country as IDPs? Our presidential candidate just visited some of them, and you saw him with our candidate in Abuja. Children and mothers who are Nigerians staying in their own country as IDPs. How can you just... We did not talk about delivering issue of economy, or in terms of education, or in terms of our security. It is that bad. And it will be so difficult, in fact, almost a treasonable position for anybody to support any candidate apart from Peter Obi. I'm saying it with all level of patriotism.
All right. Well, now let's look at the conversation that has been generated following the release of this New Year's message, largely from the opposition. We've seen questions about former President Obasanjo's electoral value. Now, earlier in the show, we had our analyst break down what some of the numbers from the various regions look like. In his own estimation, those numbers did not look very favorable when you break up the geopolitical zones, did not look favorable to Peter Obi. We also had earlier at the end of last year, we also had the This Day predictions. Again, we saw some strengths in certain areas, but we also saw some areas that were still a little bit questionable. My question to you is, do you feel this endorsement carries the electoral value to shift the tide in your candidate's favor in the places that he currently isn't polling the kind of numbers he would have expected to at this stage of the campaign?
When you were asking me, I was smiling, because I feel that the weight of his endorsement is so weighty. Considering that if you look at the first position when he went in the headline, he said his letter is addressed to Nigerians, especially the Nigerian youth. That is the catch. For a very long time, we've ignored the Nigerian youth. We forgot about them completely. In fact, there was a level of disdain in which they are being held. To even say sometimes they are docile, we call them all kinds of names. But for today, they have made a decision. And they represent a huge number of the boasting capacity of Nigeria. If I'm not mistaken, if my statistics will not fail me, over 51% of the Nigerian population is the Nigerian youth. They feel the impact of their parents, friends, and families. And they've already said that they are synergizing with the candidate this time around. And this time around, they are not waiting to play football on the street or listen to music somewhere and then playing dumb to the election that's taking place. This one, they are taking full charge of it, and they've exemplified it. On 1st of October, 40 cities of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, everywhere they march on the street for one person. No candidate has that particular law. So therefore, this particular endorsement shows that at least for Chief Olusegun Okikiola Aremu Obasanjo has shown that he's a statesman. He knew the challenges and he knew the danger of ignoring these youths. So anybody who ignored the youth on this particular game, he's doing it at his peril. And then look at even the statistics, look at even the table in which he ran. He did what we call, use this particular acronym of TVCP as a measurement. The T representing the track record of the person. The V representing the vision of the person that we want to vote for. And then C is representing the character. And then P representing the physical attribute of the person. All of these meet in tandem with our presidential candidate. He used that yardstick. When you put it on ground for any of the other candidates, they cannot meet up. Is it in terms of their track record? Every one of them has something hanging on them. But in case of Peter Obi, the track record is in Anambra has shown that he was able, throughout his tenure as a governor of Anambra, for 8 years there was no armed robbery. 8 years. And then when he ran also, and then the issue of education, he made sure that the children of Anambra rose up in terms of academic performance, connecting with the students. Is it in terms of the connection with roads or in terms of investment? How can you compare a Peter Obi, who is an investor, to a tax collector or a corrupt induced person? There's no yardstick. So for us, the measurement is very clear for anybody who wants to see, for us to weigh it, to see who is capable of taking Nigeria. We've had issues as regard to presidents who were sick, and we lost them on the position of power. And then we had another one who was also sick.
Also endorsed by Obasanjo.
Yes, yes, but at least he won the elections. So he won the election. And you put it on record that the person that he endorsed in Yaradua did extremely well. In terms of changing our narrative, at least he showed compassion. When we had issues as regard to the Niger Delta issue, you saw how he dealt with it within a short period of time. And you cannot say Yaradua was a corrupt person. So that means that Obasanjo has a very good track record of selecting uncorrupt individuals.
Oh, Dr. Tanko, of course, I think that's relative to a large extent, because in actuality, this endorsement brings a reminder of the fact that Obasanjo did endorse fully President Muhammadu Buhari, and now he's saying that it's been hell on earth. So if he's going to throw his weight behind an individual, or that's Peter Obi in this case, talking about him having the character and the competence, we're going to go by what his endorsements in the past. It looks rather contradictory. So what do you say to that? Again. Yes, I do.
Because at that time, almost all of us did. Because we felt that this particular person has track record to do what he ought to do. And at the time in which we did endorse and supported him, we believed that he will be able to pick the right people to support him. But of course, he withered off. And one who are behind him, these same people who want to rule government now, the Tinubus, permit me to use names. And then we ended up having cabals. So majority of us who are consistent with what we believe went back. We track back. But the question you want to ask is that, do we as a people keep quiet when things go wrong, even though we endorse somebody? It's just like you planting something and it's not working. Won't you go back to the drawing board and replant again? You won't die. You have to work on it to get the right person on the right stage. So exemplifying and really explaining this particular thing has shown us that the incapacity nature of the present regime has led us to this particular. And then those who believe that we must continue to try, believe me, at a point in time, as we are seated here, we cannot air television station like this. We can't, because we have to use analog. But now we are in the digital age. It's because some people continue to try. So here, we are now trying to get somebody who has exemplified himself and has the capacity to do so. So for Obasanjo, at least he has tried to show that he's consistently looking for the right person to give Nigeria the right track of leadership.
Okay. President Yar'Adua was unfortunately unable to fulfill his mandate.
Yeah.
President Buhari has been unable to fill his mandate by the opinion polls and economic polls of many people. So how do we trust that President Obasanjo is sound in his judgment that Peter Obi can execute his own mandate?
I just gave you some of the track record of Peter Obi. It's on that particular mandate that you can track. You know, at the point in time, Peter Obi said he left 75 billion naira in the coffers of an Nigerian. People were denying it, isn't it? But then Obiano came out and said the money that Peter Obi left was what he used in building the airport. So there's a confirmation there was money. So these are facts of what he has done. In fact, there's a kind of a cartoon where you see them using microscopes and glass setting the span of Peter Obi looking for any kind of mistakes and corruption. They couldn't find any. But what they found was credibility and characteristics of compassion and capacity. So that is exactly why we are running with. But at least you can give us the mandate that say we are not running against somebody who we know is that is corrupt. And even Obasanjo say he will not test him with a long spoon. Or somebody who we know that is actually physically not fit to run this country. So we have a choice.
Well said. Now, I'd like to deviate a little bit about some concerns that have been brought up regarding, the Labour Party. I saw this very well-written article on this day newspaper, and the information was from the Diasporans for Good Governance, and they've said that the mantra for Peter Obi's campaign to move Nigeria from a consuming nation to a producing nation is unsettling for a lot of politicians. I'm just taking a quote here. Said this group of said people who belong to the old order, who'd benefited from the consumption nature of the country, are not happy with Obi and will go to any length to stop his presidential ambition. One of the individuals mentioned in that article was Arthur Eze. I'm just wondering how seriously you're taking these allegations when they're saying that some individuals would go to any length to ensure that this presidential bid is not a success.
Well, we've seen it in the attacks that have happened earlier on. I've been on this particular channel and I completely complained that we are under siege. There were attacks on our people as regard to even registration of voters, even collection of voting materials, voting card. There were attacks. Physical attack in terms of our billboards and the rest of them. It has also resulted even to killing. We lost our women leader in Kara, and then our women leader in Kebbi too was attacked. Her restaurants was razed to the ground. And then we had even two of our families, some of our secretaries in Kaduna South were also killed. So we have been facing this. We know that these people won't let us be or get Nigeria on the right perspective. But the truth about this is that, you see, one of the major challenges we have about insecurity is the neglect that we have in even all of our local government, in 774 local government. Now, we are with the people. We are feeling their pain. We are saying that 133 million Nigerians who have been put as abject poverty level by Nigerian Bureau of Statistics. Peter Obi said, come with me, let's change the narrative. We want to give Nigerians the opportunity to live and earn a living with dignity and respect. So if we go with the people on the larger side, all these other people who are trying to bring us down, they will only fall and queue behind us. It's a simple thing. We don't give them room to continue to do because they only believe in that particular line of survival because there's nothing legitimate that is being put on their table to earn. So here we are producing our alternative level. If you are involved in criminal tendency, they are giving you opportunity to have a good living where you can earn your living with dignity and respect. Which one would you prefer?
But still to that, seeing that they would go to any length as mentioned here, what extreme measures are you taking to ensure that, you just mentioned now that you've experienced cases where lives were lost.
That's right.
So what measures are you taking to ensure that he actually sees this presidential bid through?
Well, what he is trying to do, he tried to open his doors for even those who are attacking him and those who are for him, because he is interested in becoming the president of all. You see, people have different views about certain things. So until when you hear their own views and you listen to them, you may be able to get some comfort, and then they'll be able to work with you. What they want is actually to enjoy the good life of what they've been enjoying. And they bring their own ideas to the table and say, let's look at it like this. And he said, no, this is the best way we can do it. I'll give you an example of something that he did that was very, very interesting to me. This is somebody who cares about how you are doing your own business. We were in Kano. And then in Kano, then there was a product that was brought in as a biscuit for us to chew. So when we are chewing the biscuit, then it tastes differently. It tastes differently, so you look at the product. And I say, this is somebody's business. Oh. And probably this particular person may not know that this particular product has gone bad. So he told his ADC, pack this and ensure you give it to me when we get back to Lagos. I know the owner of this particular business. I will give it back to him and tell him this is the problem with his product, so that he can make amends, so that he will not lose money. I'm using this as an example to show that he cares about what you feel, even if you are not there. So if you have any alternative idea, or probably you feel your business, which may be illegitimate, and you feel probably by making Nigeria from a consumption nation to a production nation, and say, look, do you know you can do this business this way and still earn this particular amount? It may be even better. So he's bringing the cards on the table. Maybe along the line we can get some combat. And then, of course, there will be discipline. There will be discipline. Those who do not want to, the people will whip them into line.
Right. Now, Dr. Tanko, I'm glad you mentioned Peter Obi being president for all. And one of the statements in the New Year's message by President Obasanjo, just to get back to that, mentions how he is the needle that has a thread from the north to the south. Now, we are all aware of the uproar that has been caused by the recent appointment of Mr. Akin Oshuntokun as the new DG of the Labour Party. And, of course, a lot of opposition coming in saying that that position should have gone to somebody from the north. Now, what are you doing to appease this, this disgruntlement, if I may call it, from within your party that feels that the South is well represented, but we're not doing enough to extend ourselves to the North? And similarly, can you elucidate further on what the thread is, that is being referred to here from the North to the South? Can you tell us your candidate's strengths when it comes from the North all the way to the South? But firstly, let's deal with the DG and the fact that people are not happy that he is not a Northern man.
My name is Dr. Yunusa Tanko. I'm from Kano. My mother is from Kura. My father is from Kabo local government. I'm from Kano State. We reside in Yakase. I'm one of the face of this campaign. I'm from the North. So that speaks volumes. We are represented. The Southwest was represented by Dr. Doyin Okonkwe. And now, if the Southwest is represented by Dr. Okonkwe and he's going, do you now take it again and give it to the North? Is there fairness? I have Nana Kazauri. She's from Jigawa State. She's also a face of this particular campaign. We have Indika, she's also a face of they are all from the northern part of this country. We have Balami, he's also from the north. We have the vice presidential candidate, he's from the northern part of this country. We have Audi, he's from the northern part of this country. We have Alhaji Atiku, who is the financial director, he's also from the north of the party. We have Madam Dudu, she's from the northern part of this country.
Is that making enough of an impact on your campaign in the North?
It did. Because I go home, Nana goes home, Dudu goes home, Audi goes home, and plenty of other ones goes home to tell the people that enough of the lies that you have been told. This is time to rescue Nigeria. So it would only be fair for us to have an Akin Oshuntokun, who is also a political scientist, who represents a bloc, who will have been minus out if you have decided to take it from another particular part of the country and annihilate the Southwest. It would have been unfair. So we will have lost the support from the Southwest. But at least we are represented. I'm everywhere. I just left Benin. I just left Benin. So what else? So, and besides, we are taking this narrative beyond this issue of tribal and sentiment. We want competency. We want people who have capacity to rule this country. And that's exactly what we are trying to exemplify.
Well, interestingly, we had a guest last week from the New Nigeria People's Party. There was we asked him to put to rest or confirm the rumors of potential mergers. And one thing that was during the course of the conversation, we asked if the NNPP was looking to merge with the Labour Party, and he basically said that you would need to come down from your high horse, more or less, if a merger was going to happen. So since politics is a game of numbers, would you be open to a potential merger which could see Labour Party actually take this election and not end up being a runoff as predicted by media like This Day?
Let me put the technicalities on ground. Issue of merger is ruled out because technically it's not possible. Alliance is ruled out because you cannot do, there's possibility of alliance in the future. This is foreseeable, it's possible. Alliance simply means you be me yours and let us party together and see how we can get things done. But for a merger, of course, it's just you giving out your party completely and there's no name anymore. But that can't happen because already we have candidates already on ground. So, you know, this particular trendy issue about merger or alliance actually got broken by Arise TV because I was the one that granted the interview. Because for 16 months, we've worked with 16 political parties. I was the secretary under the National Consultative Front. Our target was to get a political party that we can merge or align with. We almost get that, but at the last minute, we had some challenges because the time actually caught up with us. But here, eventually, we have the humbleness and support of Barrister Aburi, who is the chairman of the Labour Party, agreeing to, shift fence and then work together with the Nigerian Labour Congress. And here, we must give kudos to Femi Falana and Professor Patu Tomi, who brokered that particular piece at that time. And then we have the Labour Party. On the 22nd, we adopted the Labour Party. On the 27th, Peter Obi joined the Labour Party. On the 30th of May, Peter Obi became the president. Even when Professor Pat was there, we all dropped. They all dropped for Peter Obi. That is the sign in which you see the hands of God is in this particular movement.
But I'm curious.
Please.
Since the merger is out of the window right now, from what you're saying, what were the major issues that did not allow it to fall through? Because we understand that it was based on the insistence that Peter Obi would be the presidential candidate and that it was leaked to the media that this conversation about a merger was going on by Labour Party. So since it's already water under the bridge, can you tell us why it didn't fall through?
In politics, there's a lot of perception and a lot of rumors. You may not be able to get actually the truth about certain things. So, but be as it may, we've been having discussion, there's no doubt about it, and it's been confirmed from both sides. We've been having discussion. The major issue is about regard to who will become the president and who will become the vice. Okay? And for us, we feel that for equity and parity at the moment now, in this country, at the moment now, we feel that Peter Obi would have been better to be the president, and we have support from other parts of it, especially from the north, to be the vice. But of course, others feel that, okay, what will happen to my own people when we decide to become vice? So that particular narrative became a very serious challenge. But what we eventually agreed is that let's go into the field and test the water. And already now people have seen the pendulum where it's going. So now we may be forced to, if chance permits us, because we are actually interested in going on the hog. We want to go and win clean sweep. That's why we're majoring on the Nigerian youth. And then if it happens that other people feel that we have the capacity to lead, where the doors are open, we're ready to welcome anybody who wants to. Because our plea has always been, not one person, it's a teamwork for every Nigerian.
And speaking of that, one of the biggest reservations of people who may be in support of Peter Obi and the Labour Party, one of the biggest concerns is, of course, the lack of representation in the various state houses of assembly. And the concern that, how can this leader get anything done without that representation? How are you allaying those concerns and fears? Because it is a very real challenge and a very real concern for somebody who might be in support, but might opt to support somebody else who they feel can push bills through the assembly.
Yet again, you see me smiling because you need to know the track record of Peter Obi, how he became governor of Anambra State and how he was able to midwife the action. He had similar challenges. but he did extremely well. That shows the capacity and the intellect that he has. Though it was not our wish that we have challenges in this regard as regard to candidature not being filled. Remember, up to now, some of our candidate issues are in court. We're still battling with it. We just got Lagos off the track, and we now have candidates in Lagos. And so other states too, we are working on them to ensure that the court pronounce on them so that they can be uploaded. But the truth is that we want to place candidates in everywhere. And then the slow start of some who did not believe, now they are believing that it is really possible. Now the rush now comes in. Now that's where you see people now complaining. Recently, we just have the younger brother to former governor of Zamfara State, Yari, joining us. And he's our candidate in Zamfara State. Somebody would have thought it can never be in a public, but now it is a reality. So also at different other states too, where we have candidates who people did not think that they would have gone with us in the Labour Party. So as far as we are concerned, we are going to make do with what is available and then, plead on others to join us so that we can form a very good government, possibly a government of national unity.
Oh, I remember we also had a conversation with that's Dr. Obin Nauzo, who defected from the SDP to join the Labour Party, and he dropped his governorship ambition in pursuit of a senatorial seat on the Labour Party. Just wondering how that resonated with you in terms of support, and if you're seeing similar decampings. I'm looking for if you're seeing similar departures from other parties to join your Labour Party.
Yeah, there will be more, because for us, as it is now, we need everybody. I keep on saying there's an obedience in every household, including the presidency, and I remain to be challenged. Because every Nigerian have felt the brunt of their children not going to school for 9 months. Every Nigerian have felt the effect of the economic dwelling economy. Every Nigerian, at the moment, as we are speaking now, feeling the impact of lack of supply of petroleum, whether the government said they has it, but the people are not feeling it, or the increase in inflation or the employment rate. So there's no household that have not felt it. And that is exactly what the obedience represents. So anybody who believes that you want to get out of that particular situation is an obedient person.
Dr. Tanko Yusuf, on that note, spokesperson for Labour Party, thank you so much for the time you've given us and for sharing these insights.
Thank you.
And of course, we continue to count down until the day that Nigeria gets to decide.
Amen. And God bless the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Thank you very much for having me.
All right. Thank you.